I am Tom from Mystery Game Fight Club, and welcome back to How to Rage, the Primal Rage tutorial. Today is all about the Dino God of Evil, a walking flamethrower. And we are going to learn how to burn everything to the ground. As a fighter, Diablo excels from mid to long range, where he has access to his best normals and specials that help him control the space. You will want to stay out of melee range if possible, since most everyone else is faster up close. Diablo is the only character on the roster that has not one, not two, but three specials that can pass through projectiles and just as many ways to extend combos from the ground. This gives him a few methods of approach and keep him relatively grounded, where some other characters might prefer to hop around a bit. Diablo is most comfortable when he is on the offensive, and his toolkit favors punishing his opponent's mistakes. If Diablo manages to corner an opponent, they could potentially have a very bad day. All he needs is a touch to make anyone's life bar disappear. Conversely, this means he really doesn't like to be on the back foot and has a hard time if he loses momentum or is overwhelmed by attacks. After a setback, it's often better to take a more watchful stance, then strike hard when you see an opening. Left unchecked, Diablo will make certain there is nothing left but ash and bone. Looking at Diablo's normals, what we're trying to do is capitalize on a poke, something we can easily follow up on if it hits. If you find yourself in close distance, the best options are standing or crouching 3. Standing low power isn't a bad option from this range, but it limits what else you can do afterwards. Again, remember that Diablo is not great in this position, so try not to linger here for very long. From the air, jumping low power and 3 are decent. Low power has good coverage, while 3 serves well as an anti-air with its instant activation and persistent hitbox for the entire jump. From the ground, crouching high power is his best anti-air option, covering a decent bit of range above him. His best button by a long shot is Far Standing 2. It's fast, has good range, and is easy to combo from. This button is so good, you might be able to take entire matches from the AI using nothing else. Before we talk about his specials, it's important to note that I am covering Diablo using the arcade version of the game. The various console ports treat the properties of Diablo's specials differently, and may not respect that some of them are supposed to go under projectiles, for example. Keep that in mind as we go forward and experiment on the port of your choice. Moving on. Diablo has quite a few tools at his disposal that help him control the arena. From distance, he has both slow and fast variants of his fireball, by holding 1+3 or 2+4 and pressing down forward. The hitbox is surprisingly high, and the slow fireball can be used for anti-air in a pinch. Hot Foot will be your go-to for combo enders. Hold 2+4 and press up back, then down forward, for a carpet of flame that causes knockdown. This special can also go under faster projectiles with the right timing. The Inferno Flash is a good way to switch sides, close distance, or even punish someone who spams projectiles. Hold 2, 3, and 4, then press up to teleport. You should be careful not to overuse it, since Diablo is open to attack on re-entry. This special will also damage and briefly stun opponents who are in close range. In the corner or during dizzy, that opportunity can be used to extend combos. The Pulverizer is a pouncing attack that should be used sparingly. It has its use in punishing projectiles, but is way too exposed to just throw out there. Hold 1+4 and press up, forward, down to send Diablo leaping through the air. Mega Lunge has some mild anti-air properties, but you need a fair bit of warning. Hold 1+4 and press back, down, forward. The inputs for this move might be picky, requiring each individual direction to be pressed instead of rotating through the motion. Diablo will charge head first, causing knockdown on hit. It is also his second special to go under projectiles. The timing to dodge projectiles is more generous in Hotfoot, but the problem is it is unsafe on block, and especially on a whiff. At first blush, Diablo's torch doesn't look like much, but it has some extra uses with skilled hands. Hold 1+3 and then push up, then forward, while continuing to hold 1+3. Diablo will belch a short-range stream of flame that can be held for a couple of seconds. If it hits, your opponent will be scorched and briefly stunned. This is his third special to allow projectiles to pass unharmed. The torch is also a hard counter to two specific specials, Armadon's Iron Maiden and Talon's Brain Basher. This was fixed in version 2.3J, suggesting this was an oversight in earlier versions. Nevertheless, it presents a rare opportunity to get combo hits on Talon, who would otherwise be much harder to hit. Lastly, this special can be used to extend combos on the ground, though the attempt carries a lot of risk. If you are able to hold the torch for no more than a couple of frames, Diablo opens his jaws, but no flame comes out. If you see fire, the combo will drop. If you get really good at it, this torch feint can be chained multiple times in the same combo for significantly more damage. However, I would only recommend it for advanced players. Lastly, to eat a human worshipper, hold all 4 buttons and press down, up, down. This move has the peculiar ability to also extend combos in the corner. Granted, of course, that the move does not actually devour anyone. Doing so does not add any damage, but it does add to the hit count. The timing of this can be very specific, so it's really only a flex to show off that it's possible, rather than a practical means of getting more damage. So you've won the match, and it's time to wrap things up. Diablo has 3 finishing moves to choose from. Hold 2, 3, and 4, then press forward 5 times to throw a giant fireball that explodes on impact. Hold all 4 buttons and rotate from up back to down forward to incinerate your opponent, leaving nothing but bones. Lastly, hold 1, 3, and 4, then press up, down, down. Diablo will split the ground, consuming his adversary in a pit of flames. In terms of combo routes, Diablo is certainly capable of big numbers. However, in practice, he's more likely to dish out short bursts of damage. It would be typical to expect numbers ranging from 4 to 7 hits mid-screen, but anyone adept at torch canceling might squeeze out a couple more. If you can manage to push your opponent to the corner, that's where things get interesting. Most other characters rely on jump cancels in the corner to get long combos, But that's not strictly necessary for Diablo, who can pull out some numbers without even leaving the ground. He can easily push into 11 hits, and advanced players can go the full distance against mostly everyone. Diablo's a fun character to lab with, and you should experiment freely. Remember how I said that his far standing 2 is his best button? Let's do some stuff with it. Let's do standing 2 crouching low power. Quick, easy, done. And you get a knockdown. If you're feeling frisky, you can add a fast fireball at the end for a juggle. Or how about standing 2 low power and end on hot foot? This is another way to get a knockdown and some more damage. Next, let's try standing 2 high power Inferno Flash. This gives you an instant side switch that is completely safe, and if the flash hits, you get a brief stun to plan your next move. Now, let's fully explore just one of Diablo's combo routes. First, let's practice a couple of 4-hit strings you're going to use as the basis for everything else you do later. From melee range, press 2 low power, 2 high power. Depending on your opponent, you may need to do this in a corner. Alternatively, you could use 3 low power, 2 high power. These are the building blocks necessary for more advanced combos. This string can also be used after the torch. Let's combine this with the 3-hit string we just did before. Standing 2, high power, Inferno Flash. Then 2 low power, 2 high power, hot foot. Now we're cooking. Even if all of it doesn't connect as a single combo after the flash, your opponent may not have time to react. If you do want to make sure all of it hits, move it to the corner. Next, let's start with a jump in. Jump in with 4 low power and one of the 4-hit strings from earlier. This gives you an easy 6-hit combo that has the potential to be extended, or you can stop there by adding in hot foot and maybe a juggle or 2 permitting. If you're mid-screen, you can add a second normal jump forward. First, jump forward with 4 low power, then 4 high power. Finish up however you like. To extend this 6-hitter, we will need to be in the corner, or your opponent will need to be dizzy. After the 6th hit, use the Inferno Flash. Upon re-entry, use 2 low power, 2 high power, one more time to bring the total to 11 hits. Close it out with a hot foot and maybe a juggle for good measure, potentially bringing this bad boy up to 12 to 14 hits. For the advanced players, after 11 hits, you can use the torch feint described earlier. This does not count as a hit itself, but it does allow us to throw in some extra damage. Use 3 low power and close with hot foot for a total of 14 to 16 hits, depending on juggles. You may remember I said you can chain together multiple torch feints, but in a combo this long, the hit stun will run out before you can actually do anything with that second feint. This means to go the full distance to 20 hits, we need to add in jump cancels. To perform a jump cancel, we do the tiger jump motion after any normal hit. So, forward or back, down, and then up. Diablo will do a quick hop straight up into the air. This maneuver takes some practice, but once you get the hang of jump canceling, a whole new avenue for combo damage opens up. Got it? Okay, let's get started. Jump in with 2, crouching 2, jump cancel. That is step 1. Next, let's add the 6-hit string from earlier. After the jump cancel, press 4 low power in the air, and then 2 low power, 2 high power when you land. This is 8 hits. You have an option here. You can either do your next jump cancel now or do it later. If you do it now, jump cancel and then 4 high power. On landing, do the same 4-hit string. That's 14. Let's get those last 6 hits. On hit 15, use Inferno Flash, then 2 high power. Hot Foot for 18. We're not done. Get the last 2 juggle hits for full length 20-hit combo. Earlier, if you wanted to wait to do your 3rd jump cancel, we used the Inferno Flash after hit 8. Use our 4-hit string of 2 low power, 2 high power, and now jump cancel with 4 high power. On landing, do 1 last 2 high power and hot foot. Remember to juggle and you've got your 20. Now pat yourself on the back, that was amazing. This massive combo can be performed on 5 of the 7 characters in the roster, with Talon and Vertigo as the only exceptions. That doesn't mean we can't come really close, though. You can thank Hanzo with MK Competitive for making the discovery. Stop in and say hi. I'm sure he'd love to hear from you. So how we feeling about now? Pretty good?
Pretty bad.
Get out there and burn the mother down. But in the meantime, I've been Tom from Mystery Game Fight Club, and this is How to Rage, the Primal Rage tutorial.
Toodles.